All right, we are live. We are excited to be here. So happy to be part of the Loving Without Boundaries community, bringing you another important topic with our discussion today, the role of mindfulness for happier connections in consensual non-monogamy. And just if you are new to our free online private community, Loving Without Boundaries, we want to say welcome. We are glad that you are here. And if you've been here for a while, we are happy that you are enjoying our community here, and we are glad that you found a place to find support and important information. And that's exactly what we would like to deliver to you today. And I'm here with B, and we are going to have a beautiful conversation today about why is mindfulness important if we want to be in happy and healthy relationships when we are coloring outside of the lines with consensual non-monogamy, whether that's an open relationship, whether that's polyamory, whatever it is for you. So, Bia, I'd love it if you'd start us off on our conversation.
Sure. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our next bi-weekly Facebook Live, where we indeed discussed a very important topic again, which is mindfulness. Why I thought that it could be important to mention mindfulness and just a little bit elaborate what it means and what it means if we have it and we don't have it is because when we navigate the complexities of consensual non-monogamy, it can be so easy to overlook the role that mindfulness can play in relationship health and happiness. Consensual non-monogamous relationships thrive on emotional awareness, trust, and effective communication, and the presence or absence of mindfulness can really affect how these aspects show up in our CNM relationships. I know it from my personal and professional experience as well that once we're able to step into that space of mindfulness, magic can happen. It can really be a game changer for our own experience in the relationship and for other people as well, because we start showing up really differently. Although there's not a global one definition what mindfulness is, I would like to give one definition here. So mindfulness is the practice of intentionally and non-judgmentally paying attention to the present moment. There are 5 traits of mindfulness that I want to explain just really briefly here. So one is that we are being aware of what is happening as it is happening. So for example, now I'm aware that I'm having this amazing conversation with Kiri. I'm fully engaged with this present moment. My mind is not worrying about the future and not thinking about past memories or past hurts. I am here. This is the only moment that exists for me right now. The other aspect that belongs to mindfulness is not judgment. And what it means in this context is that there's this natural flowing tendency of the brain to make assessments, to make evaluations about what is happening inside us. And sometimes this can show up as judgments that have negative connotations. Non-judgment, when it comes to mindfulness, means that we simply let these assessments and judgments arise and then go. We don't get ourselves attached to these judgments. We don't become one with these judgments. We just simply let them flow through us. That ties to the other aspect of mindfulness, which is non-reactivity. So although we might have an emotional response coming up with us, we don't let this emotional response take over us. There's this space between our emotional response and the action that we're going to take. So mindfulness includes that we are able to step into the space of the observer. When we are mindful, we have the ability to describe what is going on in the present moment. So we can use words to describe our internal experience. Like, for example, I'm experiencing right now that I feel anger. I also experience it that I can describe it, that I have the temptation and maybe the accompanying body sensations to yell at someone, but because I'm occupying the observer mode, because I created a space between my emotion and my response, I am able to stop myself. I'm able to enter into a larger context and see that yelling at someone wouldn't get me the result, the outcome that I wanted. And the 5th aspect is self-observation, which simply means that right now I'm observing and I can say that there is me having this fascinating conversation with Kiri here. So this is briefly what mindfulness means.
Thank you. Thank you so much, B, for this important topic and also for really walking that out for all of us. So, with that, like, let's talk about how this can not having good mindfulness in our relationships can negatively impact when we are in a consensually non-monogamous relationship. So, first, let's talk about some of the communication challenges and how that can also create some emotional disconnect. What do we mean by that? Well, that can show up as when there is no open or honest expression of our needs that can be in our relationships, as well as we're not able to really get in touch with what are our boundaries and be able to express those in clear ways to our partners. And a lot of people don't realize that they have poor boundaries in their relationships. That can create a lot of misunderstandings. It can also be a disconnect and create unmet expectations when we're not being clear about that. Another way it can show up is when we don't have the skills to practice active listening. And when we're not really listening to each other, then neither person feels heard or understood. And we can start to have trust issues that show up in our relationships too. We're just being distrustful, which is us not assuming goodwill from our partners. Also, it can show up as not being able to empathize with our partners. And if each partner or even one of them doesn't have the ability to empathize in powerful ways, that can just take conflicts and just keep escalating them over and over again. So that's not good either. Another way that lack of mindfulness can negatively impact your CNM relationships is it can negatively impact your emotional well-being, your sense of safety, or even your belief systems, the things that you're telling yourself about the world and how you're showing up and how you're relating to it. What we mean by that is you might have a lot of emotional reactivity. There could be a lot of triggers. You're not really fully in control, and you may be knee-jerk reacting to things that are happening in your relationships, whether you're either tolerating abuse or toxicity or dysfunction in your relationship, or maybe, it could even be abusive behavior, possibly even from yourself. Like you may not even realize, like, oh my gosh, look, I'm yelling and I'm screaming at my partner in disrespectful ways, and realizing maybe after the fact that that wasn't helpful, and maybe even feeling some guilt and shame around that. That it can also affect us by having a scarcity mindset, because from a scarcity mindset, that's also where we can breed jealousy and insecurity. And that can also foster feelings of competition if we go into those comparison games of, I wonder if my partner's other partner kisses better than I do, or if they are better in bed than I am, and just start going down those scary places. It can also show up as perpetuating what might be either limiting beliefs or false narratives, or the meanings that we're making up that are very disempowering, whether about ourselves, whether we're kind of shaming ourselves or beating ourselves up, or negatively impact our own sense of self-esteem or confidence, or if we also are maybe projecting some of these limiting beliefs or false narratives onto our partners, which can continually create more stress, more challenges, more conflict, more distrust in our relationships, sending us down into a negative spiral. I'd love to give the mic back over to you, B. How else do you think not having good mindfulness when we are talking about consensual non-monogamy and open relationships can negatively impact us?
Yes, sadly, there are more negative impacts, and we are only just scratching the surface here. So, Kiri, you mentioned really important points that there's no clarity, for example, because we don't communicate our needs, the boundaries are blurred, the safety of the individual safety and our partner's safety are compromised because we are simply not present with ourselves. So, if we miss out on exploring that internal landscape of ourselves, if we don't have the ability to create that pause in ourselves, it's going to show up in so many destructive ways. We show up really from this non-reactivity. We might be so caught up in managing our relationships, managing what is happening, thinking about the future worries, being caught up with the memories and hurts of the past, that we really miss out on what is happening in front of us. We're so focused outside of ourselves that we fail to pay attention to what our body needs. what we are needing in the moment. That can drain us of energy, that can drain us of life force. We may end up having a burnout, so we may really end up neglecting our self-care and may not even notice it because we don't pay attention inside, we don't listen inside. When we haven't cultivated that ability to pause, to notice the present moment, to stay engaged with the present moment, like you mentioned, Kitty, the active listening, because that is full engagement with our whole being, with the present moment, paying attention everything that's being said and not being said. This can show up, this non-engagement can show up in ways as well, like we miss out on noticing how our partner is showing up for us. So for example, we don't notice how much they support us, how much they are there for us, how much effort they put into this relationship. And when they notice this, that our perception is not that we can notice their efforts, then people can feel unseen, unheard, lonely as well. And this is going to lead to isolation and just simply emotional disconnect in the relationship. Also, if we are really focused away from the present moment, like the worries of the future, the memories and hurts of the past, then we won't be able to really engage in a deep, intimate, emotional level with our partners. So that's just going to create another disconnect. We may miss out on those beautiful connection moments where our partners want to connect with us, but we don't notice it. We can't be there because we're somewhere else. It can be that we're physically there, but actually we can't act in ways that fosters connection with them. Or worse, this may show up in behavioral reactivity. For example, we just woke up. And for days we get completely unavailable emotionally. And that's just gonna erode the fulfillment, the satisfaction, and the safety in the relationship. If there's this disconnect with ourselves, if we're not able to step into that pause from our emotions and investigate our limiting beliefs, if we miss out on that growth opportunity, as Kiri, you said, we can perpetuate our limiting beliefs about ourselves and our partners, and that can lead to certain rigidity in the relationship. That can lead to us wanting to enforce rules and really just coming from that place of scarcity and contraction and fears, where we have the limited capacity to go into, have adventures, to explore the certain possibilities of ourselves and our relationships as well. So we're going to miss out on the beautiful, exciting opportunities of CNM relationships if we're not able to step into that beautiful, grounded mindfulness moment.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that, Bea. It's very excellent description that you gave there. And when we do these Facebook Lives, we like to, highlight where the challenges are. We also don't want it to feel all like doom and gloom. So what is the antidote to this? How do you stop this? Well, a lot of times it can be finding the right person to work with, whether that's a mentor or a coach. And sometimes you can do this work on your own, but a lot of times you can accelerate that growth and that learning when you are working with somebody who has your best interest at heart, who really specializes in consensual non-monogamous relationships and can hold your hand to create accountability and help walk you past any fears or obstacles that can come up, to help you learn how to train your mind and better manage your emotions, build your emotional intelligence so that you can build your ability to stay really mindful and present in the moment, and also to help keep you and even your physical body centered and grounded so that you feel more confident, you have more inner peace, you feel more solid. And a coach and a mentor can help you do this and can also help you work through any of those limiting beliefs or those false narratives or those scary stories that may be creating some anxiety about the future or keeping you trapped in the trauma or the regret of the past. Instead, you can learn how to change any limiting beliefs into empowering beliefs and build an abundance mindset, which can also help move you away from any jealousy, insecurities, or scarcity, because you'll also be increasing your confidence, increasing your self-esteem, your ability to have more inner peace, and to be able to have more respectful and compassionate conversations with your partners, so that everybody can feel heard, so that everybody can get their needs met, and also so that you know that you're going to be fine no matter what, and as you're building out these skill sets. And in that way, you're literally becoming the best version of you, what we call cultivating that superhero version of you. Because let's face it, when you are in consensual non-monogamy or an open relationship or polyamory, add more people and you're going to be adding more ways to misunderstand each other, more complexity, more ways to step on each other's toes. So a lot of times, what the most missed step is going to open relationship school, or really finding the right coach to work with you, the right mentor. And that way you can learn how to foster relationship satisfaction, building out your empathy muscle, building your inner confidence, and learning how to have needs-based and effective communication. So instead of having those same old arguments where there's pain and there's suffering and you're not able to get out of those vicious loops, you can really learn how to speak from the heart, speak to the heart of the matter, which is understanding that we're all doing our best to get our needs met. And we all want to feel heard. We all want to feel understood and seen. And we all would love to be in relationships that feel healthy and vibrant and satisfying and fulfilling, and have a place that we feel we belong, instead of where we feel like we're in toxic or dysfunctional cycles or patterns with our partners. So if any of this is resonating with you, if you feel like you do need some help in your relationships, whether it's building your sense of self-esteem, your confidence, your skill set, especially if you're coloring outside the lines of monogamy, I do invite you to book a call with me to see if maybe we are a fit to work together. You can come and have a conversation with me by going to the website at lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. When you go there, simply just look for a time slot that works for you. It takes you right in my calendar, easy peasy, one click. And then there'll be a brief form for you to fill out that just gives me a little bit of context, so I get to know you a little bit better, so that we can have a beautiful and an honest conversation. We'll put our heads together and come up with a game plan, whether it's working with me, or if I need to steer you somewhere else, if we're not quite a fit, I will let you know that. Or if the timing feels off, I'll let you know that as well. So that way you will get a lot of clarity and value from our time on that call. And that's how I first got to know B. She just went to this link and booked that same call that I'm asking you to do, if you are struggling and if you are looking for help. So know that help is here. We are glad that you are part of our community. We are absolutely delighted to serve you, to have these fireside chats here with our Facebook Lives. And B, thank you so much for your time and your attention. Is there anything you'd like to add to help close us out here?
Yes, Gary, I really loved how you described what can be on the other side when we really up-level our skill set and step into those spaces of mindfulness. And I also absolutely love that expression, open relationship school. It's so much resonated because that's how I feel that I've been in the past 2.5 years. And indeed, once we start up-leveling our skill set, once we are ready and allow ourselves, give ourselves permission to go on that super exciting internal exploration journey, that's going to open the door to abundance, to more love, to beautiful shared adventures. And once we really start to accept ourselves in those mindful spaces, that's gonna help us create a space for others as well, where others feel seen, heard, valued, understood. There's going to be this beautiful sense of belonging. Communication can become joyful. Just imagine a scenario, imagine a life where communication becomes joyful, when there's this naturally flowing space where open shares happen, where heartfelt shares happen, where trust flourishes naturally, and when we can really step into those present moments and enjoy the present without the burden of the past or the burden of the future. That is a magical place to be, and skill set needs to happen sometimes for us to achieve those places in ourselves. And then once we cultivated that skill set, we can really show up differently in our relationships and contribute to the overall satisfaction of the relationship. So absolutely, this flow, magic, exploration, joy, presence is absolutely available.
Thank you, B. Thank you for again bringing this beautiful topic to our community. So know that from the bottom of our hearts, we really truly care about your success in your relationships, even when you're coloring outside lines of heteronormative monogamy. A lot of people can feel isolated and alone on that journey and don't know where to turn. So know that we are here for you. We care about you and your happiness and you being in fulfilling relationships, no matter what the structure, so that you can live your best, passionate, happy, fulfilling life of bliss. So thank you for being here. And B, thank you for your time and your attention. I really love having you here as part of the team and to have these important discussions. So with that, we will say have a great day and we'll talk to you soon.